And good evening, Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League fans, into an all-new season of the MFHL podcast, the official league podcast here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. I'm your host, Graham, the G-Show Foresight. Thank you so much for being with us here on this Wednesday evening. This isn't the usual release date for this show, but it's probably going to be a bit wonky to start things off in terms of when the show airs because we just have simply a busy 2 weeks coming up. Like, these next few weeks are going to be crazy busy for us in the best way possible, and it also relates to the MFHL, so that's even better. But I'm so happy to be back here for a third season of MFHL coverage. The 2025-2026 season should be as entertaining as ever. Last time that we covered MFHL action, the Eastman Selects ended up winning the MFHL championship and going down to Saskatchewan to take on the Saskatoon Stars in a series they unfortunately lost. But Eastman's already played some games this season. They got some under their belt. They went out to Stony Creek to compete in a showcase. Same with the Avros. There's been a lot of teams in this league that are getting their exhibition/preseason schedule going, and that just means that the regular season is getting closer and closer to kicking off here in 2025-2026, and it's going to be a blast this year. And what's even more exciting is, well, G-Show Productions is officially the exclusive broadcast partner this season of the MFHL. We've been able to land an agreement with the league as well as the other two, as you can see here. We're going to be covering Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League games once again, and new to our broadcast family, the Winnipeg High School Hockey League. In total with these three leagues, we're going to produce over 200 games this year, whether that's regular season, playoffs, showcases, or tournaments. All the action can be seen live this season for game day action on gshowproductions.uscreen.io league, and all access passes are now available for all leagues, and this is how it's sort of going to work this year. So we're going to have league specific memberships as well as all access memberships. So for example, if you're going to go with a league plan and you want to choose the MFHL, we're going to guarantee at least 5 monthly games, maybe a bit more than that throughout the course of this season, and you get all of those games during the month for a price of $12.99. Annual, you pay for the whole year, so a bigger payment up front. And the all access packages, which you can access now on gshowproductions.uscreen.io, would allow you to watch all the leagues with that subscription that you may choose, whether it's monthly or annual for the all access. But the great thing about this year and about us going to pay-per-view, of course, the downside being that you won't be able to consume our game day content totally for free at this point. There's a bit of a catch, which I'll bring up in just a moment. But the great thing is that every game that we're going to be producing this year on Uscreen, money's going to be going back to the MFHL through a revenue cut, and they're going to be able to get that money to be able to use it however they see fit to be able to improve their league, whether that's adding new scholarships to give out to players or whatever the case may be. The MFHL is going to be seeing some money come back, and this effectively creates another revenue stream for the league, for you not only to support us on G-Show Productions, but to support the players as well, because this money going back to the league directly impacts and supports the players, that is. But the catch in terms of how you'll be able to watch some of our game day content for free, well, we're going to be posting highlights on our YouTube channel this year, and we're going to be featuring clips from game day throughout our podcast this year. So those will be used as a bit of a promotional pieces, I should say, to get people to go sign up to watch the games. And by the way, if you just want to check a game or two out, you don't have to completely subscribe. You can simply just buy the games as a single game option if you'd rather do that just to check it out. But what's so exciting about this partnership and us being exclusive with the MFHL is that every single broadcast by broadcast company, we're going to be the only broadcast company allowed into these arenas, which is great. makes it easier to know where you're going to be able to watch the games instead of there being a bunch of different networks doing it right. And the great thing too is, even though we're an exclusive broadcast partner of the MFHL now, say we're not able to make it to every game, which that's just not in the cards right now, but we can't wait until that's a possibility in the future. But teams, if they still want footage, they'll be able to film the game themselves for their own purposes. So it's a huge win all around, I think, this year, and a start of a new era for G-Show Productions and our MFHL coverage. And we can't wait to kick it off coming up in, well, almost a week from now. Just over a week away. I'd say 9 days away. We're going to be in Portage La Prairie to cover this year's Central Plains Capitals Female U18 AAA Showcase, running from the 19th to the 21st in Portage La Prairie at Stride Place Arena. 12 teams in total are going to be in action, many from the MFHL, as well as teams from Saskatchewan and Alberta, too. 14 games for $35 is our bundle price. Single game options will be available very soon on our website, as we are going to be uploading the games and matchups that we'll be doing very soon. But for all the information, be sure to check out gshowproductions.uscreen.io. Can't wait to be in Portage La Prairie come next week. It's coming up faster and faster as time goes along, that's for sure. But yeah, as for this season in the MFHL, it's going to be an absolute blast covering it. I hope you're all going to join us along here for the journey as we continue to update you on the most entertaining female hockey league the province has to offer here on your home for U22 hockey in the province of Manitoba on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Speaking of who's back here on the network, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia is sponsoring us for yet another season. Thank you to them for their continuous support for our coverage of all things hockey, specifically female hockey, for this podcast's sake. And yeah, we're going to play their commercial coming up next. When I come back, I'm going to take you through some of the news that's transpired so far heading into the 2025-2026 MFHL season on the official MFHL podcast on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Stick around, everybody.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
Welcome back to the MFHL podcast, MFHL fans. To start things off in our news section, we're going to get into a series that happened very recently, last weekend in fact, between the U18 Team Manitoba squad taking on the U of M Bisons. Their annual 3-game series saw the U of M Bisons come away victorious 2-1, but the wins and losses not really important at this point in the journey for Team Manitoba as they get set for the national championships coming up November 3rd to the 8th in Newfoundland and Labrador. But first, organized action. These girls have played with each other in against a university team, and even though they dropped that second game 7-3, they win the opener 1-0. And then they end off with a competitive, close 5-4 game against the U of M. And taking a look at this roster, it's chock full of MFHL talent, as it so usually has been throughout the past little while. Rio Pierre looking to make a huge impact. I guess Rio, we'll spill the news right now for those who haven't heard, isn't actually playing in the MFHL this year. I guess a former MFHL player, but the record breaker, looking to make a huge impact for her Team Manitoba squad come November 3rd to the 8th. Adeline Nolgren, her former teammate, cracking this year's roster. Ivy Perkin Didn't end up making it last year, but has ended up making it into the top 24. And by the way, I believe this roster may be cut down just a bit more before the tournament gets set. Some of these players may be seen as alternates on the final roster. But yeah, in terms of MFHL talent that is currently in the MFHL, Cassie Carvalho, Adeline Nolgren, Taylor Taryn, Sophie Wozdesensky on the forward end of things, Veda Rigo, Charlie Shearer, and Aaliyah Texiera on the defensive side of things representing the MFHL, and then all goalies, except for one, Danica Averill, no longer in the MFHL, but a former MFHL goalie, rounds out the roster of those three goaltenders, that trio that also have Eastman's dynamic duo in net in Addison Tomes and Isabelle Labossiere. Still a bit of time for Team Manitoba to get set and get used to playing with each other before the real games begin, November 3rd to the 8th, and getting action for the first time this past weekend in organized action to see what this squad has for their coaching staff to see them together in game action. But as for this year in the MFHL, a few changes not only on the players' side, some players leaving, but we're back to 8 teams. As for the Brandon Wheat Kings, from what I've heard through my reports from sources, that they just didn't have enough players to field the team this year. So Westman, the only team in that part of the province in this league now, in the Hartney area, about an hour away from Brandon or so. But yeah, we're going to see a mix of Westman Wildcat players and Brandon Wheat Kings players from last year. Some of those players joining the Westman Wildcat squad this year, including their head coach, Wildcats head coach now, Wheat Kings head coach last year in Carissa Kirkup, who will be the bench boss for this year's Westman Wildcat squad, which really excited to see what they're going to be able to do this season. Quite a young team last year. Missed out on some talent that they could have had due to, of course, Brandon being in the equation. So things simplifying more so for Westman this year. And even though they lose Reese Schutte, as we'll bring this up in just a moment here, going more in depth into that to let you know where these players have gone. But Ivy Perkins still there, and they got some really good talent on this year's team, including a player in Lucy Waldner who's going to be coming back, just to name a few. But as for 3 players in particular heading east, Asaji Show Productions, as well as a lot of people, I'm sure, wish all 3 of these players the best of luck in Reese Schutte, Rio Pierre, and Danica Averill, who will be playing in the OWHL this season, Ontario's U22 Women's Hockey League. Rio and Reese will be on the Kingston Junior Ice Wolves, and for Danica, she got acquired by the Waterloo Ravens. And yeah, as for these players, I think one of the big things behind the decision is, of course, for Rio and Reese. Not sure about Danica in terms of what her college commitment status is, but for Rio and Reese, they've committed to colleges already, to universities. That's set, and I feel like the rationale here is, well, for Reese, she's played 4 years in the MFHL, is ready coming in as an underage player for this Westman team a few years back now. She's pretty much experienced anything that a player could and would want to here in the MFHL, going on championship runs, final runs, and even experiencing the very lows, like last year, the results of this Westman team not being one of the stronger teams in the league and bowing out early in the first round. So for Reese, I haven't had a chance to talk to her personally. This is more so speculation than anything in terms of the reasoning why she might have made the decision. But yeah, maybe looking for a new opportunity and looking to get an edge head into her first year of university next year, where she gets a chance to play against older talent at the U22 level. As for Rio Pierre, well, it was a chance this year, I think, coming in to break her own records, as she set the single season points record last year and goals record that was once held by Nora Collins a few years ago before Rio ended up breaking that record. But yeah, for Rio, her skill set, it speaks for herself. Her game speaks for herself. And no doubt for her, she's a true competitor, a player that's always looking for a challenge. And ahead of her first year of university hockey, she's looking to, of course, find a new challenge, and that would be in the Ontario Women's Hockey League, the U22 League. As for Danica Averill, of course, Westman Wildcats eligible goaltender this year, ended up going to Waterloo in that league to, of course, like those other two players, experience something a bit different, get used to playing against top-end talent at the U22 level heading into her university portion of her hockey career, right? So I think that's probably the biggest reason why these three players ended up making the move. Can't wait to hopefully talk to at least a few of them this year, as I'd love to have them back on the show. But yeah, their skill sets are fantastic. I think if there's any three players who could go out and make an impact, it is these players. But it's going to be a bit of a different role maybe at the start, right? Like, you're coming into this squad as the best players, some of the best players, among the best players on your teams here in Manitoba, and it's just a different level in terms of the age difference, and you're playing against bigger, faster girls, and it is for sure going to give them an early taste of what the university level could bring and what it takes. And yeah, going to be interesting to see if these three players in Danica, Rio, and Reese are up for the challenge. Congratulations to all three of them, and best of luck as they've headed out east for this 2025-2026 season of hockey. As for teams in the MFHL that have gotten their exhibition play going, as many teams as the weeks go by here in September are going to get some games under their belt, but the Eastman Selects traveled to the Stony Creek Showcase in Ontario this past weekend. First tournament of the season, as the post stated. This was from the Eastman Selects Instagram account, and they fared pretty well out there. A lot of low-scoring games, as we've been accustomed to seeing from this Eastman Selects team, how they're able to win those close games. That already proven itself in this season, and we're still getting prepped and set to go for the regular season. But Eastman, with a lot of returning players this year, they may be ahead of schedule compared to some of the teams here in the league, and getting to play in some action early, getting to get back into the group of playing again. A lot of the details and the stuff that made this team so great last year was on display in exhibition in the MFHL this past weekend in Stony Creek. As for the Winnipeg Avros, they were also in Stony Creek, a time to bond with each other and get to see the beautiful sights of the different places in this country, the different provinces have to offer. As for this Avro squad, finalists from last season, they too fared pretty well in Stony Creek, had some wins and there's some close losses before playing against teams in that Stony Creek Showcase a bit earlier on in the week. The Avros ended up taking on the Balmoral Hall Blazers, and that was a close 1-0 game. Can't remember who won off the top of my head, but yeah, Winnipeg, Ashley Van Hagelen heading into like her 15th season. She really is the Winnipeg Avros. When I think about them, Ashley's really the first person that comes to mind, and no doubt she knows what it takes to have her group ready to go heading into what they're hoping is another championship contending season, as they were just a goal away in overtime, double overtime that is, back last spring from completing what would have been a historic comeback against the Eastman Selects, down 2-0 to start off that final series. But in terms of some college commitment news, I could have sworn the Avros had a college commitment, but I haven't been able to find the post since. By the way, I've seen most of the commitments throughout the past few years on X, which is Twitter, and I had to restore my phone last week because was a bit glitchy during an update, and I just couldn't update my phone, but ended up restoring my phone and haven't been able to get back into my Twitter account since. I've been able to get back into Instagram, but Twitter hasn't been so great. But yeah, X has been a great place to just take a look at teams posting quick updates about their commitments and what's going on. But luckily, they also utilized Instagram and had a chance to see this returning defenseman and a senior defenseman on this Winnipeg Ice team in Claire Hudson, looking to be a huge factor on the Ice's decor, as made her commitment to Minot State to play hockey for the Beavers 2025-2026. Really strong 2024-2025 campaign offensively for Miss Hudson, who is looking to put a stamp on her MFHL career this season with a strong showing with the Winnipeg Ice team that's looking to be a championship contender once again. A complete defenseman that Minot's going to be getting. Congratulations to Claire, the Hudson family, everyone that knows Claire in this commitment for herself. As for the Pembina Valley Twisters, or sorry, not the Pembina Valley Twisters, the Pembina Valley Hawks. I got the MMJHL on my mind. Apologies about that. But for the Hawks, they'll be taking on some MFHL teams. They got Eastman and Central Plains coming up this weekend. Saturday against Central Plains. Sunday afternoon against Eastman, 2 road games. Great bonding opportunity for this Pembina Valley Hawks team early on in this 2025-2026 season. Also great to see the hockey community coming together here early on in the year, as Pembina Valley isn't the only team that's posted this. Balmoral's posted it. I believe RHA has. Eastman has. Many teams I've seen post, and this is what's so great about the hockey community, seeing them come together to support an initiative like this for Peyton Chornley. As you can read the screen there, a player for RHA, unfortunately diagnosed with a lymphoma, with a lymphoma on July 30th, currently in active treatment. And yeah, just devastating to read this. A 16-year-old kid should be able to be out there enjoying her youth, but unfortunately, due to, dare I say, the worst disease in the world, a cancer in this form, in this case, affecting Peyton quite gravely. But there is a positive out of all of this, as this month on September 7th, RHA and Balmoral Hall are going to be raising money, all proceeds in the 50-50 draw for the Pembina Valley Hawks. They're doing something great, but on the 13th in Morden against Central Plains, they're going to be raising money for this in their 50-50, and all the proceeds, as you can see there, will be donated to the Coming Together initiative. The main event is going to be September 24th, 8:15 p.m. at the rink's home at the Rink Training Center, and those are all the fundraising details there. So what I'm going to do after this episode is I am going to link one of these posts from one of these teams that have talked about this initiative, the Coming Together initiative. If you're able to in some capacity, please do support it, as we try to raise as much money as we can for Peyton in this cause and in this effort to fight against a brutal disease in cancer. We're going to take a small little break here, and then I'll be back to give some final words on this edition of the MFHL podcast. Stick around. And welcome back to the MFHL podcast on this Wednesday night. Great to be back here talking about my favorite female hockey league. Anywhere, honestly, I think this league is just so entertaining. I'm really excited to be back to take a look at, well, not take a look, but to get to witness and I guess, yeah, take a look at all 8 of these teams this year. Not 9, but how all 8 of these teams are going to be looking on paper heading into the season and how they fare for this upcoming year. Of course, I think, and I'm going to get into this in upcoming episodes, but there's some obvious favorites, like in terms of being in the championship contender list just off the bat heading into this season. Eastman's going to be returning quite a few players. The Winnipeg Ice, quite a young team last year. They only lost 3 players from their roster, are going to be returning a bunch this year. They made it to the Final Four last year, and what you can consider in these last 3 seasons for them as a down year. Really interested to see how the Winnipeg Avros and teams like the Westman Wildcats are going to respond to losing top-end talent like they have. But I think it's also going to just show how strong these areas of the province are with how their results are going to play out this year without these players, because I expect for both these teams still without marquee players like Pierre and Rishuti to be really competitive and to potentially work their way into the championship contender conversation. Then teams like Yellowhead, too, have been knocking on the door for quite a while. They got a talented roster heading into this year. Pembina Valley's going to have another competitive, talented roster. And then, interested to see another year, more experience maybe for the Central Plains Capitals and for the Interlake Lightning, right? A team that always competes with the top teams in this league and gives them a fight until the very end. What type of skill they may be able to bring in this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I've said so many times, it's going to be an absolute blast, and I keep using that word because I truly do believe so. This 2025-2026 season has the makings of something truly special, as we saw last year. Maybe it doesn't quite top the championship series we saw, but hey, you never know. A new season, a new page in the MFHL's history. What's in store? Well, we'll have until October, I guess end of this month, late September, until about March to figure everything out. Until next week, everybody, when we'll probably be releasing the episode on the Wednesday because our team's heading out to Portage on the Thursday, so I'm not sure how it's going to exactly work out as we have our top priority on preparing for the Central Plains Capitals showcase and want to get there a day early to get everything in order, the final run through, etc., etc. But check out our website as well as our social media, our Instagram, as we'll have the updates for next week's episode. Then coming up next week, but until then, about 7 days from now, MFHL fans, I've been your host, Graham the G Show Forsyth, giving you a peace out sign as well as waving so long on this Wednesday night. Have a great weekend, everybody. Until about 7 days from now, we'll see you then. Take care.